Welcome everybody to Matt Bajerski YouTube channel, but I'm also going to put this on Rumble as well as part of a key feature of the greatest oils in the world. Welcome to the world of healing oils as a healer for 2 decades with clients over the world who have experienced these oils. And what I learned from these oils, what I learned from working with some pretty amazing souls in this world, the art of, let's say, the arts of understanding oils like they did in the ancient times, the times where healers were the women who used to go into nature and smell, touch, feel, and observe, not only observe animals, but observe nature in itself. So with that said, I decided to not go down the normal path as many healers who work with oils would do. I didn't particularly study oils in that sense. And yet I've ended up with 11 magnificent oils. One of them I cannot say is my oil, but I can say it's the only oil that I felt deep down. So as soon as I start talking, my phone starts. It's been such a strange morning this morning. Really strange morning. Just can't work it out. The distraction is incredible. Sorry, guys. I've just been drinking. I am just at the moment drinking some ginger, and this is fresh ginger, and I've just got a bit stuck in my tooth. So yeah, the path that I went down was a path that I felt was truthful, honest, and in the moment. So what does that mean? And it's a great question. Well, I always found myself struggling when I was learning. One of the reasons why is because it sounds really obnoxious. So I don't want to say it that way or negative or even egoistic, but it's not. I mean, if you sit with somebody like Don Tolman for 4 days and listen to him, right, which I did, then that whole thought just then is ridiculous, because I've sat with many people who have tried to teach me something and it didn't feel right. And it always ended up 9 times out of 10 that the reason why it didn't feel right is because the person who was teaching had no real experience. They were regurgitating information. So, and a lot of the times when you just regurgitate information, you don't really truly have a full understanding of what you're doing. You have a full understanding of what you've learned, which is basically part of your brain is incredible at digesting things and holding on to them, as is Don Tolman. So you could argue the fact, well, Don's learned, but the difference was putting into practice and seeing the results. So I quickly realized that people that were trying to teach me things had no knowledge with experience of what they were teaching. Thus, the feeling that I got inside was, well, how do you know? And that went for psychics, that went for mediumship. When I questioned, I'd get abuse back. Now, I asked myself, why is it that I never got abuse when I asked Don Tolman a very, very challenging question? Why is it that when people ask me questions, and when they're obviously not questions which are related to oils, for instance, I will have an answer to it, and I'll explain why these oils are the way they are, why they are, and how they became that way, and what results and what people got from these oils. So you know, I quickly realized that my first mentor showed me the basics of how she worked with oils, which was nothing like how I work with oils, but there was kind of like an excitement when I was learning from her. And the only way I learned from her was really simple, that she was a high Wiccan priestess. She worked with oils for many years, but the oil she had at that moment in time, which was over so many years old, she would always replenish it, right? Which was really fascinating to me, because I said to her, I thought oils go off. She said, no, you replenish them, and you keep working on them. And when you work with the energy, you find that you just need to replenish them, which I do with all my oils. I replenish them. And her oil at that particular point was any oil. She just used, I think at that point, was sunflower oil. And inside the oil was flowers from nature, because she was a witch, a Wiccan high priestess. So she would go into nature and work with flowers and mix them. To me, it sounded lovely, and it was genuine, and it was honest, it was truthful. And I was excited by the idea that the oil that she had in her tub was over 40 years old. She'd kept it for so long. And she showed me her tools. And like, I was like, wow, this woman really, really is focused on these things. And I thought, that's interesting. I like the idea of the oil, but I didn't like the idea of just a sunflower oil and flowers at the beginning, because she was kind enough to give me a little bit of that oil. So I put it in a tub with flowers, and she told me about the flowers. She told me why she used the flowers, what she looked for flowers. And that was fascinating. But for me, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So and at this point, I'd only just started understanding healing. I'd only just started understanding the psychic world. Okay. So I'm like really at the phase at 38 years old, being an auctioneer, to now starting to understand this new world. So I took this oil and I started working with it. And look, intention is everything. So my intention when I was working with it, something didn't feel right. Okay, something didn't feel right. The flowers were lovely, but it just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right. I don't get anything from it. I'm using the oil. She's explained how to use it and when to use it. And she was talking about mainly she would use it on spells. Now that wasn't really. I didn't. First of all, I didn't like the idea of a spell. But a spell is really simply, I guess, an intention of wanting something, or doing something, or creating something. So the word spell I don't like. So I didn't like the flowers in that. It just didn't work. I didn't like the oil. It didn't work for me. But I still wanted the oil, because I wanted to add to the oil and change the oil. So within about a month of working with the oil, I then decided to take the flowers and the leaves out. And then from there, I started to put in a different oil. And the oil that I started off with was jojoba and a nut oil. It was almond. And then something amazing happened, where I was introduced to crystals, and everything just fell into place. It's like crystals in my oil, and my jar had got a little bit bigger now. I got a new jar, a little bit bigger, perfect for somebody who was becoming a practitioner. So I'm learning and working with them, working on friends, family, gifting, the work that I was doing, which was healing, which was all sorts of cutting cords, cleansing, loving it. And so many people coming back saying, "Oh, it's working, Matt. This cutting cords is working." And I used to use a knife and cutting like, and then, "Oh my God, Matt, what you just did." And my friends are all, and then people were calling me, "Could you do me a rice cleansing?" Yeah, sure I can. And bear in mind that I've got a little shop called Run by Angels. I changed the name, Run by Angels, and I used to just laugh and say, "Yeah, the angels are off today. It's just me." And people used to sit down in a seat, and I used to do a cleanse with rice in their hands, raw rice in their hands, and then I'd do a cleanse with Palo Santo, and then I'd do a cleanse with sage, and then there was so many things that I'd do. Okay, so it was a cutting cord, and somebody would sit down and say, "Do whatever you want." Well, okay, this is what I feel. I'd like to work on your back, do a healing on your back because there's something feels like it's stuck there. And then they'd get up, and then 5 minutes later, there'd be 5 people there. And my friends just had done something with you. Can you do something with me? That's how I became up here the healer, and people came to me from all over the world. It was just trial and error, but I was using that oil, and that oil was really serving a great purpose. But now I was introduced to crystals. Now I'm thinking this oil needs crystals in it. So the intention or the thought or the channeling, whatever you want to call it, the intuition says, what crystals am I going to put in this oil? So, what was the oil good for? What was I using it for? What was the intention for? So, each time I would do something on a client, I would be the teacher would be the client, giving me the information so I could then start to use certain crystals in the oils. And there was many times that I would give the client the crystal, give them whatever session they needed, and then take that crystal and put it into the oil. I would look for crystals specifically to what I wanted that oil for that week for. So I'd get up with the intention of this week I'm going to, it just feels like people were talking, I'm hearing things, feeling things, channeling things, observing things. Okay, this week it's a cleansing week and we're going to cleanse the mind this week. So I would then go for a crystal which I'd use for cleansing the mind. So I'd look for a crystal, I'd hunt for a crystal, whether it be in the crystal shop down the road at Vitamina, which is closed down, go to Malaga to a beautiful friend who had thousands of crystals there. We got on so well until he started being greedy and became did some horrible things to me because of his greed. And then he lost my friendship. You're going to be horrible and greedy, then see you later. You're not going to work with me. Not that. I don't want that intention. I don't want that negativity. So, but at the time I was picking out some of the most beautiful crystals in the world and putting them into the oil. That's how it started. So now I am introduced to a group of people down in Fuengirola at a big show that I went to, and they had these oils on the table. And there were little tiny bottles of oils of different types. There was like orange, there was lemon, there was like all sorts of flower oils, and they were selling them. Okay. And I'm like, wow. But they were saying, why don't you smell them? And I'd say, what's that one good for? What's that good for? And they would give me it. And I'm like, no, that doesn't no, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel like it, but it feels like it does this. So my contradiction to what I wasn't saying you're wrong, I was just saying it in my head. This feels more like the lemon feels more like different what they were saying. And I'm like, this is about uplifting. Like there was Palo Santo. I smelled that out. Oh my God, that is the most powerful cleansing I've ever smelled. Frankincense. Oh my God, that is so amazing on this level. And why? Oh, sage. Oh my God, this will heal so much in the inside of the body in way of like. And so what I was doing then is I got to a point where I was putting the oil, all these little tiny bottles of pure, I guess, cold press oils into my jar now. So from getting the oil from my first mentor, which was just purely sunflower oil, to now it's receiving different types of oils which are going in there, which are complementing the healing process of what I'm doing that week. So I might have bought 50 different oils and they were in my healing room. And what I would do is take one drop and put one drop or 3 drops into that jar before I would do my first healing session that day with clients, with the intention or the intuition of who spirit was going to bring to me. And it was fascinating. I'd write it down saying, today this is what I'm focused on, and the people would come because of that reason. So I might wake up and feel that this is all about heartbreak today. So I would intentionally then go for rose or jasmine and put that in and say, this is the intention I have, and I'm going to work on hearts today. And people would come, girls would come at 18, 19, boys would come, and they would say, I've just split up from my girlfriend. I'm like, you guys are so bloody clever. The channeling that I'm receiving and the way I work with the oil is like, it's like having a partnership without a telephone or a computer. You're just receiving that information. There was nobody more surprised than me, with a smile on my face. And the best part of my life was the first 10 years of being a healer, because that excitement, that connection, that truth, that power, it cannot be explained to anybody. I can't explain to you what happened. I just used to come home and say to my wife then when I was married, Susie, you're not going to believe this. You're just not going to believe this. You're just not going to believe this. And that was how it was every day. When you are attuned to what I believe is the spirit world, and the spirit world knows you're attuned. Why? Because I wasn't focused on anything else. I wasn't focused on money. I wasn't focused on dancing. I wasn't focused on alcohol. I wasn't focused on a new car. I was focused on healing. I was focused on clients coming for healing sessions. They know that. They know this. And that's why they say, hey, that guy over there, he's doing it. He's doing it. And people would say to me, healers would say to me, psychics would say to me, mediums would come up to me angry, saying, how come you're so busy? How come you're so full? And I go, I don't know. But now I do know, looking back, it's because I was fully focused and the intention was pure love and healing, nothing else. Anything else was a bonus, but I didn't look at that. I had fights with my ex-wife because we had no money. Why? Because I gave it away, or I was giving it away to charities, to dog charities and stuff. That wasn't important in my life. What was important is doing the work. So I got a lot of clients coming to me. I didn't charge for 3 years, guys. I had a little box. And if anybody wanted to leave anything, and I say this, and I say it now, when people are angry with me and say, you charge too much, I say, you know nothing about my life, right? It was hard enough to even ask for money, which I didn't want to. It was my first mentor who said to me, universal exchange, you've got to charge. And I'm like, why? Because it's universal exchange. I went, okay, so I put a metal tin with a hole in it, and that was for to begin with donkeys, and then it went to a horse, to help a horse, feed the horse, okay, from our circle group. And then it went on till I left this shop because I couldn't do it anymore, because I was so fully booked. People were queuing out of the door, the stairs, to have healing sessions and readings. And I can't do this anymore. So I had to sell the shop to work full-time, to become a full-time healer. Then I had to charge because I had a mortgage. So people have no idea about my life and what I've done. And those who are negative, those who are bitchy, those who are just numpties, who come on here and say, yeah, you charge too much. Yeah, you have no idea about my life. You don't know what I've done in my life. And normally those who say these things are the most selfish and unkind and unloving and ungiving than I've ever met. So why we get upset about that, I don't know. But we do get triggered sometimes. But it's like, if people understand what this is about and how it works, it's incredible. So going back to the oils, every penny that I was getting, I was going to get crystals. I'd get on my motorbike, right? And I'd ride to Malaga on my motorbike, and whatever I'd made that day, right, at the shop, I'd kind of spend on crystals, right? Which might not be a lot, it might be 120 euros, but like back then was quite a bit of money. That was like 300 euros, but I'd spend it and put it into oils. And I'd also work with crystals and gift them to clients after they have a session. So they go away like, that guy's just given me a healing session and he's actually given me a crystal as well. That's right. I did that for 3 years. Guess what? I opened my door for 2 to 3 years on anybody who wanted a healing session who had cancer. So that was just me. It was my heart opening, and I wanted to learn and understand and become the best healer I could. So it made sense that when you work with a client, you want to bring them to a good level of energy. You want to make them feel good. You want to change something that is so blocked and so trapped and so challenging that you need to break that down. And the only way you can do that is by healing. And as a complement, as a beautiful tool, you would use oils or you would use crystals. You might use rice, you might use sage, but these are just the things that really, really worked. So predominantly, I found that this jar that I was using was now receiving not only beautiful aromatherapy oils are going into them for that day or that week that I'd use them, fresh ones all the time, and then adding to that oil and then having a little what's it called? Anyway, I'd suck it up, put it into a little jar, little tiny jar, these little tiny jars, and then put the plastic lid on and give it to my client. So it'd be a little glass vial, squirt it inside some of the oil and tell them to take it with them and use it for 7 days. I'd always say 7 days because 7 days is the magic number that I saw that the healing process was still continuing for those 7 days. Fascinating. So I had this one jar and it was called healing oil. Pretty simple, really. So this was it. This is my first oil. It's called healing oil. So with the oil that I originally used and the years that was used with that oil and topped up, I continued that great idea and always keeping the original oil in. So the memory is always in there. You just replenish it all the time with that memory inside. So that memory stays there all the time. So all these oils that I'm sharing with you today are a blend of every single oil. So even now, Don Tolman's oil, the Golden Relief, is added to all my oils. So everything is in this oil as a memory. But the main memory in this oil, the main focus of this oil is healing. And that's why it's called healing. So the healing oil is phenomenal. It's the best in the world, in my opinion. It's the greatest. Why? The healing oil to me is used on so many levels like it did when I first started. So the beginning of the morning, I have my shower. When I finish my shower, I will look at all my oils and instinctively go for a certain oil depending on what I need at that moment. So if I'm in pain, I will go to a Don Tolman oil if that is a physical pain. If it's an emotional thing that I'm feeling I need to strengthen, I will go to a certain oil. It might be the sacred oil. It might be the cleansing oil. It might be the purifying oil. It might be, I don't know, the golden heart because I want to strengthen the heart. It might be the mystical oil, which has all the oils in them combined equally. So it depends. So if we start on, let's say the healing oil, if you were my client and you were lying down and I went for the healing oil, it normally suggests to me that the healing oil is somewhat energetic wise to strengthen 3 places, main places. That's the mind, that's the heart, and that's the stomach. The healing oil is fantastic for those 3 places. The healing oil can be used for healing on the mind as a physical as well as an emotional. So it's a combination of the two. So if you rub it on your temples and breathe it in through your nose for 3, 4, 5 minutes, you'll find that it will help heal any kind of thought process which is negative. It will clear the tension. It will clear that thought that makes you feel bad that you need healing for. If you use it on your body, let's say anywhere on your body, if there is an issue on that body that you feel needs healing, it can be a physical issue, it can be an emotional issue, if you've just been attacked, whatever it is. But the healing oil helps heal you to bring balance in a spiritual, but it also does help with the physical, because they're hand in hand. How does it work? It targets whatever the issue is, and that is normally heavy energy, dense energy, erratic energy, stuck energy, which is like a ball. Well, it's not a ball. It moves differently from the rest of the body. So it shouldn't be there. And the body is screaming out, and it feels the emotional and spiritual pain and the uncomfort and the dis-ease. So when you use the oil, it will penetrate that and break it up and change the energy. And it normally works in a matter of 5 minutes. If you use this oil, it will clear away a bad thought. It will clear away a negative energy. It will clear away all sorts of bad things. My oils have also been known, and I've been told this so many times, even when I've worked with clients who have attachments, I will put say the cleansing oil on, and they will like instantly feel as if there's a battle going on. Why? Because cleansing oil, once it starts penetrating, it has a frequency and energy that breaks up, disperses, and then cleanses that body, so that entity can't stay there. It can't stay in a purified body. It only can stay in a toxic environment and negative energy. So healing oil will clear the whole body. How do you use it? I like to use it on all chakra points, the healing. If I have a choice of any of these oils, it's the healing oil I will go for if I'm going to travel and I'm a healer. Why? Because it was my first oil and it worked for everything, right? But the reason why I continued making oil is because I wanted to direct certain oils for certain reasons, meaning I want a better version of it, and I want something to target this. Like a crystal will target one thing, and now I need another crystal to target another thing. It's the same with oils. I want to target. So my thought process at the beginning was, I want everything in one bottle, and then I wanted another bottle for something else. So the healing process of somebody, I wanted to use this. And now I want to become an expert on one thing now. What's that? I want to now know how to cleanse the body. I want to cleanse the body. So I want an oil now that I can use. And by the way, the oil in here is different from every oil in all of them. They're all different oils, and sometimes they change within a month or a year or 2 years, and then I'll change it again. I might go from one place to another, go back, but that's how I work. So right now, in this oil, predominantly is lavender in the healing oil. I love lavender. It is a cleanser and clearer of darkness, negative energy, entities. It's fantastic. That's why lavender around the house, fresh lavender or dried lavender, also is a wonderful thing for clearing the space. It has such properties that you can't even explain. That's why healing and lavender works well for me, and I love it. Now, there's many other oils in here, but predominantly when you open this bottle, you will smell lavender. So let's just end on this note. Crown, rub a tiny bit. Temples, rub a tiny bit. Behind the ears, tiny bit. Back of the neck, tiny bit. Throat, tiny bit. Fantastic. Heart, tiny bit. Stomach, tiny bit. Belly button, in the belly button, tiny bit. At the back, anywhere at the back, rub on the back. Right down the middle of the spine, rub some on there, tiny bit. Go lower down, Right, your knees, rub some on your knees. Fantastic. Go lower down, right down to your soles. Rub on your soles. Fantastic. Three drops in the hand, rub together. Breathe in. If you're finding life is difficult and challenging, then get some more oil and then rub on your shoulders and keep your hands on your shoulders and just feel the weight of the cross that we all bear. Just let the cross go, put it down, and be free from your crosses that you carry. So there's so many things you can use. Put your hand on your heart like that. Put the healing oil there and just breathe through the nose and blow out through the mouth. This is for all the oils. Always breathe in through the nose, always blow out through the mouth, because when you're breathing in that oil, you need to get rid of the toxins, the trapped crap out of your mouth, and you need to blow it out of your mouth. So that's the healing oil. I decided I wanted to make a different oil because I was getting clients coming through the door predominantly, especially in the space of about 6 months, that were really heavy. Things were really, really, really heavy. We're talking people who were feeling as if they were haunted, they were getting attacked by spirit. And I was getting a lot of people coming from Morocco at that time. It was, I can't remember exactly when it was, 2012, something like that. But anyway, it was a point where everybody was fear. And I need to clear this shit away. We need to clear this out of you. So I started working on this oil called cleansing oil. And I hunted for different oils and I wanted which was the best oil. I would used to ring up friends who worked with shamans. Me, I'd ring up whoever I worked with. If I worked with a shaman, or I'd be looking and seeing what they were using. It came back quite, I guess it's like synchronicity. I met somebody who had gone to Peru and shared this oil with me. And I said, this is what I've been looking for. It was just so perfect timing. And I said, that is the oil, what I've been looking for. And it was called Palo Santo. Now, Palo Santo, most people know as a stick and that you'd burn and you have to keep lighting it because it's hard to burn. So Palo Santo can be and is used as a beautiful oil. So how they take that, the process of taking that from the tree, whether it's the leaves, whether it's the branches, whatever it is, there is a process that they go through. So I got this oil in a, I could show you over there. It's in a, and I still get it in the same bottles that I did 2 years ago. And they've been doing this for me for many, many years. So the oil went into here and I started another little jar. So this is my second jar. And anybody who was coming with really heavy shit, really heavy stuff, I'd work on their back. So I'd push them, they'd be on a seat. I'd turn the seat the other way so then I can get to their back. And then I'd push them down and I'd rub the oil and I'd give the oil in their hands and make them breathe it in. And then I'd rub the oil on their back and then I'd start the healing work on their back. When you're dealing with really heavy shit, it normally attaches to the back very badly. And it's one place that I work as a healer. And especially if I'm doing, I don't like the word ritual, but if it's a ceremony where it's a circle and I bring people in, if it's very heavy and there is a lot of things that need to be cleaned and cleansed, I normally head for the back. So if you are with me and I push your head down, right down, and you're down there and I'm working on your back, everybody out there knows that this is very heavy. It's a bit like a shaman working with stones. They'll work with sticks. They'll work, but if they get the swords out, you know, you know whoever they're working on, they've got some bad stuff. It could be cancer. It could be really heavy trauma of past life. It could be anything like that that needs to be rid. So cleansing oil, I normally use on my back. Okay. But I also use it on my temples. I also use it in back. Same with the healing oil, but predominantly the back. So we get the liver and kidneys because that is the place that we need to clear the most heaviest energy. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating, but you can use the oil instinctively where you feel. And I think that's something that a lot of clients really struggled with. And until you give them the confidence and say, look, these oils are here for you. It's not about practitioners. It's not about learning a year on studying on how to use the oil. It's trusting in your gut instinct where you would use whichever oil and place wherever it needs to be placed. Your intuition is so powerful that no healer, no psychic can override that or become stronger than that. If you trust your intuition, you will choose the right oil and it will be used in the right place. And that is how it works. As a healer, that's how I work. I didn't learn from somebody who told me where to put it. I listened to my clients by way of energy. I listened to my body by way of how it's telling me, and I follow that. Sometimes I wonder why I'm doing it, but then afterwards, wow, I'm much better. So I follow the intuition instead of the brain, because the brain normally stops you following your intuition. And that's why I say the biggest battle in this world is between the heart and mind. So you have to overcome this mindset that somebody says, if you don't learn from a shaman, if you don't learn from a teacher, then you don't know what you're doing. No, you do know what you're doing. It's just that people tell you that so that you learn from other people and it makes them safe and more successful and more powerful. But a good teacher says, listen to your gut instinct, follow that. It will always lead you to the right place. Even if you make a mistake, that is the teaching and that is the understanding and that is the knowledge that you need. Because if you don't fall off a bike, you never know how to bloody ride it and you never know what it feels like to fall. You need to know, oh, that it felt right, but that didn't work. Good. What do you feel now? And maybe I'll try it. Oh, that worked much better. Okay. So you're not always going to be 100%, but maybe that not always being 100%, is that what is needed to be the true wisdom? You've got to fail. You've got to understand what that failing is to be able to, right, that doesn't work. Yeah, but I went there. It doesn't matter. No, it didn't. Well, where else? I think I'm going to try. That works. So you can call it trial and error, but that's what I followed. I followed the instinct. After the healing session with a client, I'd look at them, they'd go away, they'd contact me back and think, wow. And I'd have a little book for 9 months and I'd write in the book exactly how I healed, why I healed, where I healed. And then I'd have a little tiny section where I'd leave if the client would contact me back. I didn't expect it, but if they did, I get my book out and say, okay, the name of the client was, say, they always give me the first name, not the last. So the first, that was Jane. Okay, Jane came to me 6 weeks ago. She's just rung me up and she's just told me that whatever she had has now gone. So I would write something like worked or, God, what's it was, anyway, I used to use another word. What's that word? Hit and miss. All right. So hit. So cleansing oil. So after months and months of working, something else very interesting started to happen. And it normally happened in threes and continued that way. And that was people coming to me who were lost in the sense of, I want to do something. I want to be creative. I want to be successful. I want it, whatever I do doesn't work. I want it to work. And I'm like, I'm healing oil, cleansing oil. No, there's something missing now. So I bought a new bottle. I added something that I love the smell of to enhance and create and to be successful, which was called ylang ylang, lang lang, whatever you call it. It's funny how you spell it, especially if you've got dyslexia. But the smell was incredible, and I got my jojoba, put it in, and then put the ylang ylang in, and then started adding crystals to it, crystals which were yellow, crystals which were like, and people say, oh, you shouldn't use pyrite. Well, I did. And it had no negative effect at all. And I used to add crystals of abundance. So this became abundance. It came to me as I was healing one day. This oil, this new oil that I didn't know what it was or why. I knew I was working on it to help people feel, to strengthen something, to make a change in their life, so that things would, like, I wanted them to feel lucky. I want them to have something happen to them that may change them from negative thought, negative conversation to positive. So it became the oil. I wrote on it abundance, and this is the oil, abundance oil. So the abundance oil for me was like, yeah, where do you use it? Depending on what your client is going through. So if the client feels like that like abundance of love, I don't get any love. Every time I get love, it falls apart. Every time I get love, I get abused, beat, everything goes wrong. So where would you rub it? You'd rub it on your heart, right? Right. So you want abundance, you want that energy, that frequency of the oil and the crystal mixed together, and you're now strengthening and giving abundance to the heart. So people who are in business, they're always thinking, especially guys, like, I need some help. I'm working like mad. Nothing's working out. It isn't working out, right? And I'm studying, I'm doing that. Okay, rub it on the temples, rub it on the crown, rub it at the back of the neck, rub it around here, right? And then 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, they'd say, oh my God, something's just happened. What? I've just got a contract with a new company, and I'm now like working on a project for 5 years. I'm repeating things that I remember of one guy who just, he was a genius, but nothing was going right. Now, after having a healing session with this abundance oil, and rubbing it around his head and telling him to continue to do it, now he's got a contract. And it was, I don't know which company it was, but it was a company that works with these games, computer games. So he had a 5-year contract with a computer game. He's a millionaire now. So things like that were happening. New love was coming into people's lives, and the abundance of things that brought luck. So like, I now got my 3 oils. I don't need anything else. That was the truth. I said, I don't need anything else. I've got my oils. Everywhere I went, wherever I went in the world, whether it was retreats, whether it was doing shows around the world, whether it was doing workshops on whatever I was talking about, circle nights, these 3 oils were always with me in a big jar. So that's how it started. And many years later, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years later, it was always my 3 oils, my Trinity, my Holy Trinity, 3 oils. It wasn't until I started to change my whole life by, instead of doing one-to-one healings and one-to-one sessions, I decided to retire or take a break, in the sense of, I want to share more with people on a global level. And the only way I can do that is through the internet and through YouTube. So when I started doing that, I was still doing courses. And there was a day that I'd met this amazing person called Layla Sati. She came here, and she'd been watching my videos for many years. And she came here for a 4-day course in pure energy healing. And there was, I don't know, 8 people here, and she was one of them. Anyway, everybody left, and she said, is it okay if I meditate with you tonight? And I went, yeah, no problem. We started meditating, and then she wrote something down, I wrote something down, and we ended up making, she made one for her company, and this one is called Sacred Oil. And the Sacred Oil was 3 oils. So the 3 oils, which were sage, frankincense, and Palo Santo, perfectly mixed in those 3 ways put together. So what was sacred oil for? sacred oil ended up being something that was profound to people's awakening, becoming in the sense of not being somebody who didn't see, but somebody who wanted to go to another level of a deepness, more clarity, more connection to the spirit world. And if there is real deep rooted family, ancestral issues, or anything that might be so profound, that the sacred oil would bring you to a new level of understanding and healing. So that was created by channeling. Okay. But so was the other three. And so was the others that we've done, apart from Don Tolman's oil. They were all channeled, all of them. So that is a beautiful oil. Sacred oil is used for anything because it has three of the most amazing oils. Fabulous for meditation. This sacred oil is fabulous for any kind of spiritual work, of a preparation or an ending. It's like having a cleanse before and after. So even if you forgot your sage, if you forgot your Palo Santo, you forgot your incense, the sacred oil is absolutely that what will do. It will also help you connect to higher realms of spirituality, the more powerful connection to your, let's say, visualizations, your healing sessions. If you're giving healing to somebody, you rub that on your hands, you rub it around your body and start working as a healer with that sacred oil. The hits that you will get will be incredible. Sacred oil is incredible. It can be used everywhere, and you should follow your gut instinct of where you use it. Breathe it in through the nose, the temples, always. I always like to, as a healer, but you don't have to be a healer to do this. You can just be a normal human being, getting on with life, getting up in the morning, rub it on here, help me see the truth, because you want to see the truth during the day. I'm talking, you want to see what's going on around you, what nobody else does. Okay, you rub some on the back of your ears. Help me hear the truth, because nobody listens. So I want to listen. I'm the same. I don't listen most of the time, but if I'm starting working, I listen. I listen to everything. I'm not talking about verbally. I'm talking about spiritually. You're hearing things. You're channeling. Rub it on your throat. Help me speak the truth. I don't want to hurt anybody. So what I want to say is that the words come out of my mouth have a vibration of healing. Fantastic. Rub it on your heart. Let me feel the truth. Rub it on your heart so you can feel people. You can feel what's going on. So sacred oil is exactly what it is. It's a sacred blend. It really is. It really is powerful. So from there, it only made sense to me because I was working with thousands of crystals, but predominantly the crystal that people recognized that I worked with was called Moldavite, because at that point I was going through a period of my life where I wanted to be more open to different types of connection. Not just the connection of the spirit world, but I want to go beyond that realm and see if there's other realms, which there is. And there's dark realms, there's satanic realms, there's attachment realms, there's many different realms, but there's also the connection between an extraterrestrial realm, a realm that we don't know of, a realm that could have been once in this cosmos and is no longer. And that's when I started visualizing, started getting these downloads, as well as my clients, as well as words that were being said that I didn't understand through my clients when I was using Moldavite. So it made sense that I wanted to create an oil that people could connect with Moldavite, because some people couldn't afford Moldavite. It was so expensive, and it is. So can I make an oil that has Moldavite in it and has that memory of whatever that is, to awaken and to open you up to the extraterrestrial experience? So I made Moldavite oil, which is this one. So we do two oils in Moldavite oil. One of the Moldavite oils actually has a piece of Moldavite in it, but it doesn't really make that much difference, but people like the Moldavite in it. These set of 11 oils that I'm sharing with you today, this Moldavite oil doesn't have Moldavite in it, but it is submerged in Moldavite every day. So my Moldavite oil there has about 5 or 6,000 euros of Moldavites in them. So every time I put Moldavite oil into a new bottle, it comes with the Moldavite energy because it's in the oil all the time. So there is a few different types of oil that I use in here, but you've probably guessed it already. I will stick with the most spiritual and most powerful connecting energy of oil in the world, which I believe wholeheartedly is Palo Santo through my experience. So predominantly in here is Palo Santo, okay? But there is also other beautiful oils that complement in there. There's arnica in there. There's lots of other beautiful oils and base oils that are there to support. So the Moldavite oil and the Moldavite experience is pretty profound. I like to use it higher up than lower down. So if you're working with the Moldavite oil, you're looking at your third eye, you're looking at your crown, here, back of the neck, breathe it in through the nose, and just maybe rub on your heart, but predominantly around here because you're trying to connect. So it's fantastic. It works so well, and so many clients have said this is great when I'm doing my meditation. It's great when I'm trying to connect to other realms. And there's so many people who get hits from the Moldavite oil. It's fantastic. It's as close to Moldavite as you'll get because it's submerged in that oil for, I don't know how many years is it now, 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't know, many, it might even be more, but it's that is the secret to that. So you can even make your own, guys. From there, not so long ago, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, people were pushing me for I want to become more, and this was a really big thing at one time, maybe a few years ago. They were pushing me about how to become more aware, awake. I want to understand more. I want to learn more. I want to feel more. I want to experience more. So people wanted to become, they were using the word awakened. I want to awake. I want to become more aware. So I created an oil called the awakening oil. So for me, what is the awakening oil? Well, if I ever look at old text and see healers, it normally resonates to me where, somebody who sat under a tree and they say the most profound human being walking the earth was one who sat under a tree to get enlightenment, which is, for me, awakening. It's the awakening, the nirvana, the understanding of everything. And who is that? Well, they say the Buddha. So what is it about the Buddha and what is it about the world that kind of makes me think about, well, why is it that the Buddha has got this almost like strange hairdo? Why is that? And what is that? And when you look at it, you go, that looks like a pine cone on his head. And then when you study a little bit more, you realize that the pine cone looks exactly like the pineal gland. Pine cone. Pine cone. So I'm going to get pine. So I got the oil and smelt it and went, wow, this is awakening. This really feels right. So this is how I channeled that. So I started working with pine. So I got the highest version, the best first press, cold press pine oil, and worked with it. And then again, added all my rest of the oils to it a little bit. But now we're working with this. Where do we use it? We'll be using it again up here, up at the top, up here, predominantly up here. We're awakening the pineal gland. So you could rub some in your hand and just rub before you start your meditation. You're awakening. And in the morning, I do this often in the morning. I'll rub this awakening oil because I want to see more. I want to be more aware. I want to connect to what a lot of people connect to, which is this profound energy, which they call source, that's around us, that gives us information to become aware or to become a genius of things that you saw nobody else saw, because you're connecting to this grid, this whatever it is up there, this amazing thoughts that give us these beautiful eureka moments. Awakening oil became very popular, and people were using it and saying that they were getting some great hits. So a lot of people use this in a lot of retreats all around the world. I've got people who have retreats in Bali who swear by this. I got shops that use this all the time, and they say it's fantastic. Kind of makes sense, right? So from there, we went through this not a very nice thing that was happening to people. And a lot of people just were so frightened, and they were bullied and they were coerced into doing something, and then their body became unpurified. It became toxic. So I was getting a lot of messages. I was working with 103 people in the end, giving healing to them. And at that point, I realized that I needed to try to create something that they could rub on themselves that would purify, detoxify, because it was a choice between calling it detoxifying or purifying. I ended up with purifying. So everything that I was looking at for purification was all about the right oil, the right herbs, everything that would work to purify the body. So there is a great deal of different oils in here, which was specific to purify the body, clear the toxins. So this is used all over the body. Wherever you are in pain and suffering, you would use it. So many people use it on their arm. Many people use it here because they get tremendous headaches after going through this thing that they stuck inside them, and now they're in pain. Chest, rubbing it all over the chest because they're struggling to breathe, and third eye because they can't connect anymore. They don't feel one with God anymore. So purifying oil was fantastic to help people on that part of what we went through these 4 years ago. And it worked well with parasite teas. It worked well with the cleansing teas that we made, and the detoxifying teas that they worked hand in hand. And I made many videos of clients saying how much better they felt. And yeah, it made a massive difference. From that point on, a lot of people were feeling, let's say, lack of energy, not none. So we went through a point where people kept calling me saying, I have no energy. And I'm like, yeah, well, the spraying or things are happening. There is the things are being put up, and now the energy is toxic. We're like swimming in toxic soup. So people were saying, what can I do to feel better? So I then started to create an oil for those people. It ended up being called energizing oil. Everything in the energizing oil is used to make you feel better and to clear away that toxic soup. I use this every day, right? And the reason why is because I want to be energized. We are becoming less and less energetic. We are losing our drive. We are losing our energy in a day. We're lucky to still feel good at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Some people don't even feel good at 1 o'clock anymore. They've lost their energy. So this was to revitalize them in the sense of giving back energy to clear away that of the toxic soup around us. So this is more to help you through the day because of the crap that they're spraying on us and all the shit that they're putting into us. This is a good oil, and it really, it fights that, and you feel more energized. You can use this 3 times a day, which I do when I'm feeling like exhausted. And this past few weeks, I've been using this a lot, and it's been helping so much more that you look back and think, wow, it really did help. Look at me now, I'm okay. So that was the next oil, energizing oil, fantastic oil. Use it all over your body. Use it anywhere where you feel that you need it to go. It will serve you well. Then after that, there was this awful point where, because people were doing this and other people weren't doing this because they said, I don't want that in my body, what happened was then people were splitting up. there were people walking away. So what we had now was great pain and suffering in the heart because they loved them, but they couldn't live with them, and they didn't want to either have sex. They didn't want to be with them because they were blinded, and there was a lot of split ups. It was brutal. I was getting message after message after message saying, I can't stay with him anymore. I can't be with him. Or the opposite way, I can't be with her anymore. I can't, she's just blinded. So, and they were feeling bad. They were feeling angry. They were feeling bad. So I created this oil, and it was called something else, but I changed it to Golden Heart. Okay, Golden Heart. And Golden Heart is to strengthen the heart of what you've been through, what you've done, and to move on so you feel better. You can't love anybody if you don't love yourself. So this oil helps you love yourself and believe in yourself. It brings back the strength, the power, and did I do the right thing? I feel bad. Should I or shouldn't I? That clears that away. You rub this purposely in one place on the heart, and it strengthens the heart. This oil has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, I changed this oil on the last change because something felt that there was something else needed. So I changed that oil, but now I'm going back to the other oil. So there is a batch of oils that I changed, but now that's gone. And it's more of a personal thing, so there's no point in me talking about that. But now the oil I'm back to is Golden Heart. So now my next batch is going to be like the original with a most amazing oil, which is called Yasmin. So again, it depends how I feel and what's happening in this world for me to follow or not follow. Anyway, it's working amazing. People are loving the new oil, and they say this is incredible. But I'm going back to the other one because whatever that shift was has changed and gone. So now we're going back to the old. So that's that. This is mystical oil. Why did I make mystical oil? I made mystical oil because of people who had no money. So what does that mean? It means that some people could not afford all my oils, right? So what could be more better than taking all the oils, 11 oils or 10 oils, and making one bottle with all of them in? So the mystical oil is basically every single oil. So if you can't afford, you just buy the mystical oil, and you've got all that energy inside here. The memory of all of them are in here. You use this wherever you want, doesn't matter. Follow your intuition, breathe it in, rub it anywhere. You will feel amazing. This is pretty awesome. I've never, ever once wanted to mimic, replicate, or steal anybody's ideas. I think it's fraud. I think it's fake, and I think it's weak, and I think it's lazy. Most of all, I think it's wrong. There's no love in it. It's all fake, and there's no integrity. So there was an oil I've been using for many years. It was introduced to me actually by Layla Satie, who introduced me to Don Tolman. She had it, and I had it. It was just a little issue I had. And she said, try this oil. I'd never been blown away by an oil before. I've only worked with my oils and, believe in my oils and hear the amazing messages that come in. And I don't need any other oil. But I started using this oil called Golden Relief. And I'm like, this stuff's really good. And what is it good for? It's good for physical issues. So I got bit by a wasp. Normally, I'd be at the hospital. I put the Golden Relief on, and within 2 hours, the lump had gone down. And like, wow, I don't need an injection, because normally the lump would have like expanded my whole foot. But I put it on straight away, and it was like a miracle. I got bit by a mosquito. I started scratching it and started bleeding. To try the oil, I rubbed it on. Within an hour, it was gone. The itching had gone within minutes. I had a physical headache. I rubbed it on my head, was gone. I felt like Am I coming down with something? Rub it on my chest, rub it on my temples. I'm back to normal. I had an issue, like you all know, I had an issue with my my foot. I broke my foot. I put it on every 2 hours. I mean, it's my foot's never been as strong, and the healing process was like 10 times quicker. There's so many good things about this oil. Yes, I'm blessed to have now make it, work with it, because every single oil that I've spoken about today, there's one ingredient that you don't know, and that is pure energy healing. Every single one of my oils, I put my hands over the jars and I work with them like I do send a healing session to you. What do I add into it is the memory is exactly the same as any of my crystals that I work with. I add memory into that. So I may add the memory of cleansing to heal somebody from a certain thing that they need. And I'll pull that very energy into the oil, which is another memory that goes into it. Each oil individually I'll work with through the week. Then I will use certain, I tried to use it this morning, but it didn't work. I have a singing bowl, which is a Moldavite singing bowl. I'll use that on all my oils. I'll also use different frequencies on my oils to keep up the energy of them oils. Do you know how many people who've come to me who have been, let's say, workers in oils and said, you can't do that? And I'll say, why not? Because it doesn't work. Well, it works with mine. And they'll say, it doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't work, but it does. Why? Because the overwhelming energy that is pure energy, like Dr. Emoto talks about, love, healing, overrides anything. It clears all of the worry and fear of what it should, and it might go off, or it this and that. It doesn't. It overrides that because it's the power of energy and the power of pure energy that really strengthens these oils. So, Golden Relief, I went to Don Tolman and said, Don, I love your oils. I've ordered your oils. It's been a year and a half. They've been sent back 3 times. I can't get your oils. So I've got a suggestion. Would you do me the honor of letting me sell your oils? I said, what I'll do is I'll pay an upfront fee, and I suggested the fee. And then thereafter, every single bottle, I'll give you 25%. So 25% of every time a bottle sells, 25% goes to Don Tolman. I think if it was you and you had a sacred oil, right? And you and I said to you, I'm going to give you a lump sum to buy the exact ingredients and the exact way the ancients mixed these in Egyptian times. I think you'd be happy because, one, the respect of showing you by saying, look, I appreciate what you've done all these years. I appreciate the time, the effort, or the traveling, all of that. So you just give it me. It doesn't make any sense. And it needs to be rewarded in a way that I want him to be comfortable and be seen. I call it fair. So I did that, and he was overjoyed, and he's been overjoyed ever since, because every month Don will receive 25% of every bottle that I sell. And the girls deal with that, not me. So I don't know how many sells, but they say, oh, we've sold so many. They add it all up, and then they send the funds to Don. That's it. I'm open. I'm honest. I don't like lies. I don't like manipulations. I don't like people doing bad things. I want to wake up in the morning and be happy. And I want to go to bed and feel good. And I do, because I am honest and kind and caring. Every single one of my oils have that energy in. I am honest, I'm kind, I'm caring. And what I want is for you to feel good and healed. Okay. So all of these oils right now are available on my website. To buy them all, it's normally £350, something like that. But I've said I want to make it accessible to everybody. And there's times through the year that I try and do it at less than cost. So right now, all of these oils, including Don Tolman's oil, 11 of them are now available for you to buy for £120, including free DHL, which is anything between 28 to 38. Right? So I'm giving them away. I'm losing, but I'm not, because you are gaining and you're getting 11 oils that can make a massive difference in your life and in your family's life. I do it out of love. I don't need to do it. They sell every day. I don't need to do it. I do it because I appreciate that the world is getting worse. The interest rates are getting worse. Food is more expensive. And people want the oils, but they can't afford them. They can't afford 300. That's like, in some cases, it's like 2 weeks' wages. So this is basically being given away right now. The offer lasts, I believe, till the end of the month. I'm not sure. I have to look into it. But now is the time to buy all the 11 oils, because they come to you and it's like a gift. It might not seem that way, but it is. Trust me. Just to finalize, Don Tolman's oil has this beautiful, you can't see it, but inside there is gold leaf, and it's not Chinese crap, fake gold leaf. It's from Italy and it's real gold leaf. If you want to know what the ingredients are of that oil or any of my oils, you go to markbayerski.com, because it's the only place you can buy all these oils. So markbayerski.com, and then scroll and read up on the oils, read up on what's inside them. And I think that's it, really. I wanted to share that with you today. I love talking about my oils. I love the experience with my oils. And I love the fact that I can't believe that I ever thought that I'd have 11 oils, but they're here, 11 oils. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of every one of them. And you all know that I've retired, but for some reason, the other week, I went out of my way to help somebody that I love very much. And I took these oils with me and I worked with them. And my God, they are incredible. From somebody feeling so bad, somebody not wanting to be here, to changing that, to making them feel like there is hope, and to change that energy. These oils are fantastic. So that's it, really. I just wanted to share that with you. I'm wishing you all a lovely, lovely day. We ship worldwide, right? They normally take between 3 days and 7 days, depending on where you are in the world. The only issue we have now is certain countries will not allow our oils in. But nearly every country in the world, apart from India and I can't remember the other place, but all of Europe, no problem. America, no problem. Australia, no problem. Canada, no problem. Japan, no problem. China, no problem. But there's the India. Their restrictions are becoming so brutal that we stopped shipping there, because we ended up they just get sent back. So you will not receive. You will receive a message saying, I'm sorry, we can't ship to you, and you'll get your money refunded if that's the case. But on most levels, everybody gets them. Peru, I think, I'm not sure about Peru. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But, Dominican Republic, everywhere is still okay. England, Ireland, Scotland, it's all fine. So that's it, really. I'm wishing you all a lovely day. Thank you so much. And we all must say thank you to Don Tolman for finding this ancient wisdom. And whoever it was up there to help me create these oils. And long may they continue, and long may they help heal you. And thank you for being here. That's it, really. That's it. Great to have you here. I hope you enjoyed this little workshop on what I believe is one of the greatest oils in the world. And I believe in them wholeheartedly. Have a great day, guys. See you soon. Take care.